What's up, everyone? We have finally come to the end of our 2023 Hobby Annoyances tournament, and I am joined by our bracketology crew one more time to sort of walk through some of the results. My name is Adam Gelman. You can find me on Instagram at WWE Gelman or on Twitter at SC Uncensored. I'm joined by our panelists one more time. I'm going to toss it around to them. They can introduce themselves and where you can find them. And then we're going to sort of get into the tournament itself and break down sort of what happened. Did the right people win? Did the right people lose? What are we doing for next year? All sorts of fun stuff in this conversation. I'm going to kick it off to the man himself, Paul Lesko. Paul, how's it going, man? What's up?
Glad to be back on. I really enjoy doing this. I hope everybody had as much fun voting on the poll as we did, talking about it, putting it together, and just monitoring it. It's always a great time of year, and it's really fun. But if you guys don't know where I am, I'm on Twitter at Paul_Lesko.
Awesome. Yeah, this was, I feel like this was the biggest year of the tournament so far. Lots of participation, lots of people watching. Let's kick it over to our trading cards, my man. How's it going?
Hey, evening, gentlemen. I'm Ben Wilson. You find me at our trading cards if you don't already have me blocked or muted. And the other place is probably in your Facebook group, laughing at whatever people post, all the idiotic things that happen in the hobby. So, especially the tax experts. That is probably
that's got it. We'll get to that one. I think we're gonna get to that one for sure. Let's add that one. All right, Ryan, how's it going, my man? My partner in crime. How's it been for you? What's your thoughts on this tournament so far?
I think it was fantastic because the champion was so deserving of winning, so much
right.
so.
We'll get to that for sure.
Not even the power of the winner could stop it from being a winner, which is fantastic.
Right. Exactly. That's great.
So, Ryan Shear, no social media. Don't contact me.
just made my day.
All right. Yes, of course. All right. So let's share my screen here so we can get a look at the bracket. And I think the key element here, let's congratulate the winner first. Uninformed Card Influencers. I wrote this one from the day the first seed tournament game was played all the way through to the finals. I am so fucking happy that this won because absolutely this is the most annoying thing that has happened in the hobby for many years, not just this year's. What do you guys? So let's go around. Like, tell me, did the right thing win here? Ryan, I know you were on my side with this one, so I'm gonna start with you because I like to go to people who agree with me first, and then we'll go to the others who I think probably agree with me as well. But let's go. What are your thoughts on card influencers being uninformed and stupid and just doing really dumb shit all the time? Was this the right winner?
Absolutely. This was 100% the bane of the hobby is uninformed card influencers. And I wish we had got the voting turnout was fantastic. And I really think that, these guys need to take a look in the mirror. They won't. Of course they won't. But I mean, I can name a bunch of them right now. And they should look at this and be like, look, I don't know shit, but I'll charge you for that shit. So uninformed card influencers, number one. It was number one from the jump, and it was deserving winner. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I like it's constant. Like I think the problem with this is not only do they exist, not only do they charge for the advice and charge for their content, but they are literally fucking everywhere, and it is so annoying. Ben, what are your thoughts?
As I was looking at the bracket, there's a lot of the other options and entries that are either directly or indirectly layered and tied to this particular one, right?
Yes, exactly.
Cards as investments, direct. And then you have now as the hobby has become an arbitrage play. The did I do okay? This I just pulled this. It's for sale. Is this going to grade a 10? The Brock Purdy effect of please cancel because my kids bought the excuses people use to try to get out of a potential purchase after they've committed. you know, a lot of these are, again, directly or indirectly tied to the influencers who have cast such a wide net. I'm asking 50 questions on a $2 card because I need to know what the surface looks like, etc.
What grade is a 10?
Yeah, I mean, this one probably is an umbrella over probably at least 12 to 18 of the other 63 entrants.
Yeah, I feel like this was one of those. It really did have a tough path to the Final Four. I mean, it beat out Bro Life. It beat out, it beat out My Kid Bought It, which I think that's a real annoyance. Like that's something that I think has happened to all of us, where buyers are asking you to cancel because something happened in the game or whatever, and it didn't live up. Like it really did have quite a huge effect on a lot of this tournament because it took out it took out real retail hoarders. It took out one of last year's number one seeds. I mean, I think this was big. Paul, you sort of designed this bracket. When you saw uninformed card influencers plowing through the competition, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, and when we use the word designed, let's put some air quotes around that.
I know that.
Because,
Yes, I said that on purpose.
so, yeah, I mean, I think uninformed card influence is a well-deserved victor. There are some others that I could equally see here. I mean, please cancel My Kid Bought. I mean, that's one of those like running jokes that you can't believe you still see it 2-3 times a year still happening. So it's something that's out there. What I really wish is that, and I don't know why, it was in line to go up against Redemptions, but Redemptions got knocked out. I would have really liked to have seen Redemptions go up against uninformed card influencers. Um, Obviously, Redemptions didn't go very far in the tournament. I'm just baffled by that, but that's one battle I wish I would have seen. But again, congratulations to uninformed card influencers and every one of you out there that made this happen.
Yeah, no, I'm so excited. In terms of the Final Four, I think other than pack searchers, which I think really has kind of become a passe sort of like gripe, like I think all the other Final Four are legitimate, like major annoyances. Like the did I do okay thing, it's all over Facebook, it's all over Twitter. We talked a little bit already about My Kid Bought This, please cancel. Like all of those things are really like crazy, like annoying things that happen on a regular basis. The pack searchers continuing to make it this far, despite the fact that for most of the year and for going back even 18 months, like there hasn't even been any packs to search in retail, let alone like any of these other things. Like I just don't think that that's as much of a juggernaut as it used to be. And I haven't seen as many card aisle pictures of people with half of their crack showing, leaning over, weighing packs at Target. Like it's just not as much of a thing anymore. But these other ones, I think from a Final Four perspective, like this really was a pretty good representation. Paul, when you see the Final Four, what are your thoughts initially on seeing pack searchers? Did I do okay? The card influencers and My Kid Buying as sort of like the top four annoyances from each of those regions.
I think it's a good Final Four. I mean, there was some that I thought of could have gone either way. Did I do okay versus did not read, please cancel. I mean, I thought that was a really good one to get into the Final Four. Pack searchers, I think that's more of people have just been warped by it. Because like you said, I haven't seen any images of pack searchers in quite a while. But 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I mean, definitely pre-COVID, there were a lot, and nothing would get people more rankled than that. So I think pack searchers really is getting a benefit from as much trauma as it caused in the past. But other than that, I mean, I think it was a really good Final Four. I understand pack searchers being there, but I think it's time is coming to maybe be retired from the tournament.
Yeah, and you mentioned sort of this like I did not read, please. I think like I'd like to see you like we'll talk about this as we get further, but like these whole please cancel things, like I think those should probably be consolidated into a single sort of seed because so many just stupid reasons for canceling eBay auctions could easily be its own thing. Ryan, I know you have had some feedback on some of these specifics. Like, do you think this what are your thoughts on the Final Four? Did the right teams make it here?
You know, I I think so for the most part. The thing that really takes me aback is as I was watching the choices come in, starting with the very first one, it is grossly evident that the majority of people in this hobby have no idea how this hobby works. They have absolutely no idea. Exclusive player licenses,
Yeah.
exclusive league licenses should have gone deep. This
Yeah,
is the reason that we have LeBron James in a polo shirt.
right.
Okay. Because Upper Deck
Legitimately
has his
annoying.
rights. Yeah. This is why you will never probably never see a Michael Jordan Bulls jersey autograph again. You never will. So unless Panini or Fanatics gets them, which I don't think they will, because I've heard he hates signing autographs personally, and I've heard that from
Yes, he
multiple
does.
people. Yeah,
Yeah.
and he doesn't need the money. So exclusive league licenses. This is why you don't have Chrome basketball. Okay, so people really, if you're going to be in this hobby, at least have the decency to understand how it works. Now, you can disagree with me, absolutely, but at least have some kind of knowledge base to come at your answers. And I think that you saw a lot of eBay laden winners. So
Yeah.
people who had eBay experiences, canceling, whatever, what have you, that's what they chose. Harassing retail workers, that's an emotional pick. That hasn't happened for a year, guys. It hasn't happened for a year. There's plenty of retail out there now. They're not standing by pushing over retail workers anymore. It's not happening. So that's an.
See,
I
hold
thought
on,
I thought
hold
that was
on.
going to win.
So hold on a second. So I thought because it didn't get its proper due in previous tournaments, I think that was kind of like the lifetime achievement award Oscar that will never ever happen again, because that's a one and done, right? Where that's
Yeah.
not making a tournament bracket next year, because it doesn't happen anymore. Retail is no longer scarce. Ben, if you had a chance to sort of handicap this, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Ryan hit it on the head for a lot of reasons. There are ones that are emotional or personal. I sell a lot of things on eBay. I don't really dabble into the card market. That's my hobby. The other is my business. I don't flip cards. And running into multiple questions from a buyer or potential buyer that doesn't buy is irritating. But that's what you get when you sell online. You deal with returns, etc. The police cancel my bids. They're obnoxious. They're irritating. We understand as an arbitrage industry, you know, the ebb and flow of human performance is what people are speculating on. But the stuff, and I get that the harassing retail workers might be that unicorn that happened in a moment of time and will never happen again. But when I look at some of these, as Ryan mentioned, the exclusive licenses are very big on the future of our hobby, as are things like trimmed cards and altering cards.
It's
These are
fraud.
ruining, yeah, they're ruining the integrity of cards. And again, if I'm here making a Mark McGuire card on my own, and I'm trimming it up because I need it to fit into a certain page or something, and then I die, my wife sells it. Ryan, another McGuire collector, buys it. Does he know that it's been trimmed or not? And so now that's where the integrity moving forward really gets into it. The ACO stuff, people that are making, customs. I love customs, but it's different when you're making your own Project 2020 style card at home versus literally reprinting, you know, whatever card it is, a Michael Jordan rookie card, a Mike Trout rookie card, and selling them on Etsy for $1.50, and then going on to eBay. And now I'm trying to sell this as a real card, or I've acquired it under the assumption that it's a real card, and I'm now selling it. That chain of custody gets very thin very quick. And so
Yeah.
I think those are the ones that really affect the hobby long term, even though Did I Do Okay is irritating as hell when you see some knucklehead, you're fishing for a buyer is what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's irritating.
Can we scroll a little bit in that quad and see? Yeah, there we go.
So I want to go back to something Ben said, because I think this is a really key element to this. There are things in this tournament that are genuinely, hobby changing things. Fanatics getting bounced early. Like Fanatics is about to take over every element of the hobby, whether it's They've already kicked out all the distributors. They've ended relationships with all their distributors. They've gotten all the league licenses for the next however many years after they eventually go live. I don't know if Fanatics is ever going to lose those licenses unless they want to. And the reason is because the leagues own part of Fanatics. So, like, as long as Fanatics wants to be in trading cards, those licenses will likely be theirs. Those things, like league exclusive licenses, like player exclusive licenses, which prevent people from enjoying cards at every level, I think is just genuinely some of the most annoying things. Then you see points getting bounced by something that I got to find it on here. It was bounced by did not read, please cancel. I have seen, and I said this, I think, in the beginning video when we were sort of doing the bracketology. I've seen people literally get physical over pulling points in a box. Like, the fact that the points program still exists, despite all the shit that goes along with it, is completely baffling that it didn't go further than it did. And I think there's other aspects to this that where we're talking about pricing, we're talking about dealing with idiots who just don't know anything, or I think there's a differentiator between idiots and just people trying to fish for buyers and actual new people. And I think that's where this really gets annoying, because you are going to run into new people who do need the information and do need the education being drowned out by people who are abusing and exploiting aspects of the social media cycles for their own sort of benefit, rather than leaving those areas for new people to get the education that they're looking for. So those are the things that are the most annoying to me. And I think it's so important that, there's just this overall lack of education in the hobby. Like, that's the one thing since I think the beginning of 2002, 2003, when we first started to see cards really get expensive with the launch of Exquisite in 0304 and then onwards, is that the amount of education available. There's no iTunes University for trading cards. There's very few YouTube videos that exist to actually educate people. And I think these tournaments show just how those people have been able to exploit areas of the hobby for their own benefit. And it's just fucking crazy to me. So
real quick, Adam. So
Please.
Topps just released the Topps Ripped. They've got the Topps University now that looks like it was written by a sixth grader who has no idea what they're talking about. So that definitely has to come on to the tournament next year. I've read through a few of the first ones that dropped, and it's like, hey, let's talk about a rookie card. It's like, first off, nobody in this hobby will agree on what is and is not a rookie card. So you, as Topps, definitely shouldn't be putting something on paper suggesting it's this, that, or the other thing. I like the Mark McGwire rookie card argument. It's fun. But then the Wander Franco, right? The Topps Now stuff where it says call up. What is a true rookie card? Now we're in 2023. It's releasing all kinds of 2022 products still. So, deep into this year, April, May, we're still going to be pulling Julio Rodriguez rookie cards and so on and so forth. They have this university, but that in and of itself
is the manufacturer the responsible party for doing that, or should the manufacturer be making those types of things? That is a question worth asking. Is like, should we rely on a business to educate people on their own product in that manner?
To without getting deep into the 85 Olympic rookie versus 87 Topps, literally, we go back to exclusive licenses, right? Literally, if Topps wanted right now to say that the 1985 Topps rookie card is Mark McGwire's true rookie card, they literally cannot put that on a card because they do not currently hold the Olympic license. So they would have to reacquire that from Panini, whether it's in a takeover or if they end up, being the highest bidder, before they can suggest that is any of the guys who were featured in the Olympic subset, their rookie card. And it's like, so
this is getting into one of those like sort of larger discussions about rookie cards. I want to put a pin in this specifically because this discussion alone maybe is one for the tournament next year.
This is a 2-hour discussion.
Yeah, this is getting into the weeds here. So I think that the other question that I think is really important here is there one or two things here that you feel, without getting way too far into the weeds here, that you feel got bounced way too early? Paul, let's start with you. Like, where do you see it? And I can scroll over too if we want to see the other side of things here.
Yeah,
Like
it's
what
the one that disappointed me the most. It's exclusive licenses with the leagues because that's, and I think part of it has to do with, you know, we all of us, we've collected for quite a while, so we remember when there were multiple companies that had licenses, when there were Tops and Upper Deck Series 1 baseball coming out. I mean, 1986. I mean, I've got so many different. I mean, there was 3 or 4, maybe 5 different cards from different manufacturers, all with uniforms and licenses, and it was a beautiful time, and it led to innovation. And now the fact that within the last 4 or 5 years, however many years it is, you're maybe even longer, you're not seeing you're not seeing anything but exclusives. So I think new people into the hobby just don't know that, and that's just what I always find just disappointing, that if that wasn't there, the hobby could be so much more beautiful. We'd have so much more competition. Thered be so much more innovation. But no, and like you said, Fanatics has these forever now, and
Well,
pretty
Paul,
much, yeah.
Well, did you ever go to any of the baseball All-Star Fan Fest in the 90s? Did you go to any of those?
I did not know.
Okay, so back in the day, if it was in Pittsburgh, for instance, the 5 companies, which were, trying to remember now, Tops, Upper Deck, Fleer,
Donruss.
Donruss, and there was one more. I can't remember
Leaf?
what it was.
Was
The
it
5
Leaf?
companies would come together and they would make their own specific Roberto Clemente card. And you have a 5-card set of Roberto Clemente with everybody holding hands and dancing in a circle. And I've got those sets. I've got the Clemente, I've got the Steve Carlton, I've got the Nolan Ryan set. And those days are gone now. Those days are gone. Now it's just whatever Panini wants to give you, that's what you get. Whatever Fanatics. And I think the problem with Fanatics is it hasn't happened yet. So people can't see what's going to happen
That's
when
the
they
key
take
element
over.
to this.
Yeah.
Right now, it's
Fanatics.
just an idea. Now, the 4 of us know exactly what's going to happen. We know what's going to happen.
it's gonna be a rude awakening for so
But a
many
lot of people, because they haven't experienced it yet, can't make it progress in this bracket.
Yep. I wanted to call attention to one here that I think got bounced way too early, and that's event worn relics. I think this
100%.
could be player worn relics as well. So I think if you go back even 5 years ago, there were rookie relics that were always event worn because they never had enough rookie jerseys to be able to create the amount of cards they needed to create. So that was a necessary evil to be able to do some of it, but the idea of those were stupid to begin with. Now, literally every single player has very few game worn cards. The game worn jersey market has exploded. The cost to acquire these relics has exploded. When you pull a relic card in any product across any of the manufacturers, very few of them are game used, if any. And if they are game used, they're falling under that, catch-all sort of thing that Paul loves to bring up. And I think right now, are we ever going to see game used cards be a focus rather than the exception to the rule? And I think this needs to be much more further along.
No, we
Ben,
won't.
Yeah, we won't.
No.
Ben, let's go to you, man. What are some of the ones that you wanted to say may have gotten bounced a little too early?
Yeah, I mentioned it a little bit earlier when we were talking. It's really let's speed up the hobby 5 years from now. And the did I do goods of the world and please cancel my bids of the world may or may not still be going on. But
Right.
the ones that are going to affect us in perpetuity, such as trimmed cards, altered cards, the exclusive licenses, the fact that, even Ryan mentioned, in the 90s, you had 5 companies, 5 main companies, maybe a couple of sub companies, and then the Rob Broders of the world that were kind of on the outskirts, just doing whatever they wanted. The
Rotor
TCM
cards.
and then, we go from an oligopoly down to a duopoly, and then eventually it's going to be a monopoly, and you're not going to be able to, especially unless this industry gets regulated and the SEC gets involved, which potentially could happen with the Razes and box breaking and everything being illegal or borderline illegal. It's the stuff like the trim cards that really, if it affects the integrity 5 years from now. Those are the things that I think most people are. Annoyances is a very subjective word. Yes, please cancel my bid annoys me. It affects my personal eBay business, but it doesn't necessarily affect the guy that doesn't sell. And so a lot of what we see, the eBay 101s, the PM for price, the net, to me, they're irritating, yes. But for me, and I guess it's hard to put those on annoyances, trimmed cards. It's literally ruining the integrity and the ethical aspect of this hobby.
I thought you would start off with invest, getting knocked out first round. I mean, that is cards as an investment. I mean, that's one of your rallying.
They are, man. I mean,
where
let's all get rich, right? Let's all invest. But again, that's
I'm
irritating.
trying to find it.
It's in a sheesh region. It got knocked out by pick of the card aisle. Anything good here?
Cards as investments.
That's pretty fucking annoying, to be honest with you.
Anything good is more annoying. Cards as investments, again, it's irritating to Ben Wilson. Doesn't necessarily mean it's irritating to a lot of people.
Like, when somebody sends a picture of Topps Harry's baseball and like 5,000 fucking boxes of wild card shit, and it's like, anything good here? No, there's not. Keep going. God,
see, and Ben, I think this is a really interesting discussion because I honestly don't care about trimmed cards. It doesn't impact me very much, and I think there are these universal ones that I think everybody is annoyed by, and then there are ones, like you said, that are just annoying to you personally. So if people are more gravitating towards the ones that are more annoying to them personally, without recognizing maybe some of the universal ones like redemptions or PSA 10 sort of base questioning of a card, like those things can be both personal and universal. I think that's an interesting sort of topic. But
and like Ryan said, trim cards is fraud. Let's go no further than Bill Mastro and what he did with the Wagner, right? I mean that's just that's not an annoyance. That's literally illegal when you're perpetrating a fraud and you're selling something for really not. So it doesn't.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, does it belong in an annoyance tournament where it kind of goes above that? It's not annoying.
It's a very broad subject. Go ahead, Ryan.
Again, the majority of people cannot see the forest for the trees. They cannot see how these things affect everything. They affect everything. Trimming is fraud. It affects auction prices. It affects deals. It affects, buying a raw card. It affects everything. And you skirt that away because one time one guy wanted to cancel his $6 fucking bid on your card. Like, seriously, people need to understand the greater things that happen in this hobby, not just the little petty bullshit that happens to them.
And that's the thing. I think this tournament is the petty bullshit, though. Like, that's what's so funny about all of this.
That's what I'm saying.
The petty bullshit tournaments.
Just trim cards. When you're going on eBay right now and you're typing in your favorite player, and then you have to do minus auto, minus non, minus this, and then you're writing an essay of minus everything just to be able to find what you're looking for. That's annoying. Well, and that's what I think this tournament is. And Paul's welcome to disagree, but I think that's what it's for. The harassing retail workers is real. Trimming cards is fraud. Exclusive licenses is affecting the long term. Are those annoying? I think they belong above
that's a good point.
An annoyance tournament.
Now, sometimes I find myself, even in this tournament, going with what annoyed me rather than what's actually good for the hobby. Like the phrase net to me, every time I see that, it boils my skin. But then, I mean, what I voted against to get that was scribbled autos. I mean, right now, the standard auto, I mean, I remember back when autos first came out, I would actually look at the autographs because they were neat to see people how they wrote their autographs. Now it's just, if you get anything more than an A and a B, it's amazing. But, but because that to me gets under my skin, that's what I voted for.
Yeah, and how much of that is derived from the amount of cards that are out there? Like, so many of these things are impacted by just sheer volumes of, like, when you look at I think that we talked earlier about, like, I got to friends and family only because I got to avoid taxes. Like, that's like that type of shit is only out there because cards have gotten so freaking big and the volumes have gotten so large that the SEC, the FCC, all of these sort of government organizations, the IRS specifically in this one, are all getting involved because cards have boiled to a point where they're no longer able to be, just the fun hobby they used to be. I wanted to also sort of look at next year. And
Give me one right, real quick. Scroll back over to the bottom right. Okay. Bad customer service. Bad customer service should have gone far. How
Yeah.
many times have you emailed Panini or Topps about a redemption and you get no answer?
That's a bad
You fill
matchup,
out the
though.
questionnaire, they don't
That's
get
a tough
back to you.
matchup.
But
Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
Let's blame Paul for that
Customer
one.
service. Upper Deck doesn't email you back. Topps doesn't email you back. He doesn't email you back. They don't call you back. You call up. Your wait times are 3 fucking hours at 9:01 when they opened at 9. And as big of a goober as he is, at least fucking Brian Gray emails you back.
Yeah.
Ryan, if you swap that with either eBay one of ones or buyers guilting sellers, which is right above it, I bet you bad customer service probably gets a better opportunity to move on.
Well,
I think
harassing retail workers is an emotional response because I guarantee the majority, I'm going to say 90% of people who buy retail or in the hobby have never actually witnessed a retail worker being hassled. I have. I've actually seen.
But yes, I agree with you.
You hear about it. You hear about it on Twitter or whatever else, or the blowout boards. But have you actually seen it? And so it's an emotional thing. They think, oh well, if that was me, I wouldn't do that. And just use your fucking head.
See, like, and here's the thing, like, I like, there are things that are all perpetuated by social media, and there are certain things like eBay, social media influencers that all deserve their own region, but like there are things here that I think just did not get a proper run because they were put up against really hard things to beat, like putting your feet in card pictures or flaunting your cash, like all of those things. Like I think flaunting cash should have gone a lot further, but seeing that it went up against, it would have gone up against bots and all this other stuff. Like some of this is just regional sort of matchups, and that happens in the real NCAA tournament too. But going into next year, because
points should have won that bracket. Points should have won that bracket. It absolutely should have won that bracket.
I hate points. But let's moving on. Because I want to make sure we get done at a reasonable time here. So let's sort of move into this phase of like looking at next year's tournament, because we all know that we're going to guilt Paul into buyers guilting sellers. We're going to guilt Paul into making this even bigger next year, making it more thoughtful and stuff, because Paul's a terrible tournament runner. No, I'm just kidding. But I think
it took me 30 minutes to design it.
Yeah, exactly. So I think like now that we've had an opportunity as a group to come on bracketology style and then also go in and sort of finish out the year or finish out the tournament as a results video, what are some of the things that we want to, like, let's start with the retirements, because I think there needs to be sort of like this tournament hall of fame, and there's definitely some aspects of these seeds that just I think either have been on here a lot over the last few years and just are continually falling down their performance, or things that maybe aren't as relevant anymore. So let's pick one that you would like to start with, Paul, since you're the MC here. What is one of these things that you would send to the Annoyance Hall of Fame, and maybe we take it out for next year?
Yeah, I think I'm going to start big and take out a 1 seed at the top of the sheesh region, retail hoarders and flippers. I mean, I think we saw that peak in the left. I think we saw that peak in 2020, 2021. I don't think we'll ever see it again, with Fanatics being the only company out there. So I don't think you're going to be able to see people able to go to retail, buy everything, and make a huge profit on it anyway, now that Fanatics owns all the distribution. So I think retail hoarders, flippers, congratulations. You are in the Hall of Fame of Annoyances, and I hope to never see you again in the tournament.
All right. Ben, what about you, buddy?
I will stick with what I've been saying. Trimmed cards is a hobby-related big issue, but is it annoying in the sense it doesn't belong? When you look at the overall, it's like Sesame Street, right? Which one of these 4 squares doesn't belong?
Right. Exactly.
I think out of the 64 plus a couple that we kind of left off, if you have 75 things, it's like 3 or 4 of these really don't belong in this type of a tournament. And Fanatics licenses is probably one of them. Trimmed cards another. Probably pick 2 or 3 other ones. So I would probably leave out the ones that are a little bit bigger than a Twitter type tournament of 64 like this.
So don't add no murder next year. No murder as an annoyance.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
no one's lost their lives over cards. All right, Ryan, you're up, buddy. What would you like to see retired for next year?
Honestly, I kind of want to see bots. I don't.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't think.
weird,
I don't think it's a problem anymore. I really don't.
especially if Panini's going to more Dutch auctions,
Yeah,
and I think
but I mean, I guess you could probably keep them in because you probably would lower their seed,
Yeah, but
because they're not nearly as irrelevant. I'm going to go with harassing retail workers. It doesn't. It can. Well, Hall of Fame. No bots. We'll go bots.
but isn't bots and retail flippers basically one and the same? I mean, the whole purpose of bots is
It's
to
a
buy up
digital
the
version.
supply
Well,
to
no,
flip.
when I think of retail flippers, I understand the bot aspect of being a retail flipper. I picture a guy walking into Target with a cart and just putting his arm on the shelf and basically shoveling everything into his cart,
Yeah.
yeah,
and then
And a bot,
getting
I mean,
and
a
then
bot
going
just
out
does
to
that
the
digitally.
parking lot
The
and
bots do it
following
digitally. Yeah,
the
A bot does
stockers
it
the next
digitally.
one.
It goes brrrr.
yeah.
Yep.
I think they're kind of in that same
Yeah.
shopping aisle of Target, so to speak. They're on aisle 14 together.
Well,
Yeah.
but you have two types of bots. You've got the guys that will undercut you and get, like when National Treasures was $600 a box online, and you could flip it for $2,000 to blow out the same day. They could go in there and buy 10 boxes or 20 boxes or whatever. And then you got guys like when Optic or Prism was really big. You see all these pictures. I've got 7,500 blasters of Prism from my bot program. So I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's all
It
half
probably
dozen, six in
Yeah.
one hand, whatever.
Yeah.
It's all.
go away.
So I think there's a couple of things we've already discussed. We've kind of talked about consolidating some of these into single seeds because I think it'll open up the tournament to get some of these newer sort of fresh blood into the tournament. Some of the eBay ones, the cancellation of bids and stuff like that. So I'm going to leave that off. But I definitely think there's a couple of things that are just outdated. So things like auto pen autographs.
Yep.
I think that's got to go. I don't even think that goes to the Hall of Fame because I think, like harassing retail workers, it should have probably been a one and done. Things that like the retail specific ones, I think are probably going to need to go. But I think overall, like the more we can focus on specific topics being represented in areas that will pick the best annoyance of that, I think is something I really want to see. Like there should be a breaker region. There should be an influencer region. There should be an eBay region. And it really will focus in the annoyances to sort of all
Yeah, I
come to
agree.
like the annoying regional champions
Do
will
we
reflect.
do we want to cut out kind of the more serious topics too and
Yeah,
keep it
I think that
lighthearted?
the tone of this can be challenging to sort of differentiate to kind of to Ben's point of like this is more an overarching problem that the other thing is there's some things that I didn't even understand were a thing until Paul explained it to me. Like cook groups, now that I understand it, I'm like, holy shit, yes,
Yeah.
that needs to be a thing.
That's huge.
But I didn't sort of understand the titles. So I think like if we like a way to consolidate the regions will help to sort of categorize it and push people into an understanding as well. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing here because I want to get into things that need to be added to the tournament next year. Because I think there's been a number of discussions sort of going on amongst the group of things that we should add to the tournament. I'm going to start with Ryan. What is one thing that you think needs to be added as a seed next year?
So before I say anything, I want to get a lot more participation. So on this video, comment if you have some things that annoy you, or when Paul tweets this out and Adam and I tweet it out, or I don't tweet, I'm on Twitter, never mind. I'm going back to an old time. Anyway,
When he sends
throw
out his
your own-
carrier pigeon, yes.
yeah, throw your own opinions out there. The one I think is tagging @card purchaser in
Oh my
every
God.
fucking
Absolutely.
tweet ever @card purchaser. Stop doing that. Stop it.
That guy, like, okay, I don't know what to say here because on one hand, I feel like he's brought it on himself. And like he's become the hobby retweet train and the hype train, and he does it, and people just take advantage of it, and he enables that behavior. But like there are also a bunch of people starving for attention on social media, and he's the one account that actually gives some good people probably some good attention there too. I hate seeing people tag card purchaser, because it just shows me that you have no audience, you have no ability to get your stuff out there, and you're looking for a train to sort of drive it to the top of the front page, and it sucks. Thank you for saying that. I completely agree with that one. All right, Ben, what's one that you would like to add here?
I got two quick ones and then a serious one.
Sure.
One, I find March Madness style tournament stuff annoying. So there's that. Two,
Yes.
there's this guy on Twitter. I forget his name offhand, but he always complains about his Project 2020 purchases.
No idea.
I find that annoying. But on a serious note, something that happens, it's completely relevant right now, is the Facebook tax experts. Everybody
Yes.
on there says,
Yes.
both of my eBay accounts, I have $18,000 in sales, but should I report that income? And then you have everybody in the comments saying they push that back a year. They're not doing that right now. You don't have to report this $38,000 in income. It's like, listen, no matter what somebody on the internet says, and I could go on a rant about finance right now, what you should and shouldn't do. Consult a local to your state tax professional, right? If I call Paul right now, Paul, you're not licensed as a lawyer in California, are you?
Nope.
If I've got a legal questions, and I did ask him one time, he's only going to be able to talk in the abstract, not specific to California, without doing some research.
Yeah, I could research it and try and figure it out, but you could do the same thing. Yeah.
Or I could hire myself a lawyer here in California that can tell me what I need to know. Yeah. Anyway,
the tax thing is a big one. And I think it's a big one because it influences other parts of the selling process, where people are like pushing you to Venmo or Cash App or because they don't want to get taxed. I'm like, guys, like you're getting there's a Facebook group that does probably $5 to $7 million in wax a month, or they're used
to fucking find you eventually.
Yes, like that. You can't run a business without actually running a business, and like that's what bugs the shit out of me, is like people trying to avoid being a business, and you set up a fucking LLC, get your shit together, and start actually charging prices that factor in a lot of the stuff, so you don't have to do the net to me shit. You don't have to do any of these other things. Like, charge the right thing, get your shit together. If you're doing 5 figures in business a year, even 4 figures of business a year, get your shit together. And I'm preaching something that I don't practice because I don't have an LLC set up, but I probably should.
But there's this neat little thing called a profit and loss that allows you to offset your income.
There you go.
With expense. It's really, really neat. If you don't know about it, you can Google it, but it really is amazing when people are trying to skirt taxes. It's like you literally legally can file a profit and loss to offset your income.
I do it every year.
And you're allowed to write off, your car and mileage and
do a Schedule C, like pay the extra money to file a Schedule C. Like, goddamn, it's like these people, like, how can you run an 9-figure, it may have been 9 figures at one point, business through Facebook, taking payments without charging people sales tax? Like, it's 9 figures. Like, now they have a store. Like, they actually have a storefront. Like, I don't know. It's just, that boggles my mind. All right, Paul, what's one that you would like to add to the tournament next year?
Well, I think unfortunately Ben took the one that I really wanted. I was thinking it's a little bit different. It's like the people that are asking for business advice on, but you crystallized it perfectly by saying the people that want tax advice. Because I mean, just because eBay isn't reporting what you sold doesn't mean you still don't have the obligation to do it. So now you have this rampant tax fraud that's occurring all throughout the hobby. Remember, the IRS put away Al Capone. He had better lawyers than you do.
Literally, if you do not get a W-2, a K-1, or any form of a 1098 or 1099, newsflash, you are still you, not the IRS, you, not the company that you've done this business with or that you've been employed through as an independent contractor or a direct hire. They literally do not have to furnish it to you for you to still have to report that income. But hey, what do I know?
I do actually have just to get my own dumb annoyance here. It's AI generated cards. I don't know if you're starting to see this right now, but I think you're going to see manufacturers starting to, instead of hiring artists, are going to start using their own AI generated cards. Or AI art.
Interesting.
So,
I
I
did
mean,
not know that was a thing.
oh, unfortunately, Project 2020 has taught me a lot.
Here we
Yes,
go.
that makes
Here we go.
dog with
Does
a
it
bone.
ring a bell who complains about it online?
Now I
Dog
know.
with a bone. All right, I have a couple, and I want to get these on the video because I want to memorialize these. And I think these are not just mine; these are everybody's coming together.
Is your dark
My
horse going to win it all?
No, my dark horse already won it all, sir. So let's
Yep.
let's give
Congratulations.
credit
Yeah.
credit where credit's due. So my number one is the eBay authentication program.
Yes.
And
One.
okay,
Yes.
so this is a forced program. It is a requirement. It is no seller input, no buyer input. It is a strict third party engagement. And even if the seller and buyer agree that they still want to continue with the transaction, they have to do it off of eBay for it to work, because the eBay authentication program cancels the transaction if they don't deem it correct. There are cards out there that are rare enough and collectible enough for people like me who are super collectors that will want those cards regardless of the condition or regardless of anything. The eBay authentication program absolutely needs to change. It needs to be optional, and the buyer needs to assume all responsibility if they cancel it. So basically, my suggestion to fix it, because now I'm not just complaining, I'm going to offer the solution really fast, is if I say I don't want this card to go to the authentication program, I should be responsible and lose my ability to refund and reclaim the cost of that card. But that's my number one. There's other ones that I think are very important. I know we've all had terrible experiences with the authentication program. If you haven't, count your lucky stars. I've had 3, and I wanted to shoot somebody in the face. So the other ones, I think we've seen these card events, like these influencer events. And basically, you have a social media influencer or a group of influencers that go and just literally pepper social media with this card show, this convention, this whatever. And it's attended by a ton of people because they all want to get into the circle of this influencer. There was one where there was a basketball game where they gave out actual championship hardware for card influencers playing basketball against each other. And there was a fight in the game. Like, come on. Like, this is so fucking stupid.
I want to see that fight. I want to see 120-pound Blez versus that Buddha Santiago. I want to see it. I want to see those two fight each other.
Oh my God. Like, I don't get it. Like they're card shows are meant to be fun. Like, they're meant to be like an enjoyable experience, and not one that you go around and the entire floor is dominated by camera crews and people. Like, it should just be like dudes at a card show having a good time. And I know that that's me, old man shouting at the sky, but like, that's what drove me to be a card collector when I was younger. I know it's changed dramatically now. I know I'm in the minority here, but when I walk into a card show and everybody's wearing one of those microphones on their shirts, they're being followed around by a guy, like, ugh. So when we get to the national convention this year, I'm going to be going. It's going to be really my first time going to a true large scale card show where I'm going to see this in action. I've seen it in small card shows. Like, imagine in, like, oh God, I can't, I'm going to get really fired up here. So the other things is some of these, like when you have an influencer, and this goes to the bracket, and again, these are group generated ones, so I don't want to take all the credit for these if they eventually win, like I did with card influencers, because that one I'm taking full credit for. No, but like, if you have a card influencer out there, made a bad purchase, made the wrong move, didn't do something right, like, they are literally like posting videos of them like crying over these things, and it gets spread through everything. So that's another one that I think is an interesting one to potentially add to the tournament. I'm going to add things like manufacturers on Whatnot. Like, that's one that I just don't get. I don't get why manufacturers need to go to Whatnot to sell product. I don't understand that. there's a bunch of these things I'm sure will come up over the next years. Anybody else have any other ones that they want to bring up real fast before we sort of wrap up this particular section?
Just hype beast breakers screaming about, oh, this is a here, baby. My kids just came in screaming about, oh, you just pulled a Honda Pilot, you just pulled a Lamborghini, you didn't pull shit. Right? Yeah. So, right,
Emma can beat you up, so be careful.
She can.
Yeah. So this was a lot of fun, guys. I love doing stuff like this. We'll have this video posted. Stay tuned for more that's going to be happening with this annoyance tournament. We're going to likely have something like this going next year when the tournament comes out. I'm going to put some links in the bottom to the full tournament bracket so you can see it. We'll put some other stuff in the videos. Eventually, I've suggested things like, and Ryan mentioned putting your annoyances in the comments if they weren't part of the tournament, things that you want to see added. May send out like a Survey Monkey or a link that people can add their own stuff. Like there's going to be an opportunity for you guys to engage and it'll make this tournament better. So please do that. Paul, if you want to just sign off here, tell them where they can find you, and we'll end this video with everybody sort of getting one last shot in here.
Yeah, well, again, thanks everybody voting in the tournament. One of the jokes that I had is in the pre tournament was, should we get rid of this tournament or should we actually make it larger? And 73% of you said we're good with the size. So the 27% of you that are annoyed by the tournament, you can unmute me. I'm at Paul_Lesko if you've forgotten.
Nice. All right, Ryan, go ahead, sir.
No social media for me, but I'll tell you what. Today is Valentine's Day, and I want to wish everybody a happy Valentine's Day, especially my boo, Mike the Cleaner. I know you're going to watch this, baby. I know you can't stay away. I miss you. Call me.
All right. That's for the 3 people that get that joke. I'm really looking forward to it. Go ahead,
totally
Ben.
Worth it. Totally worth it.
Go ahead, Ben.
I have a reputation on social media for being a very negative person, to the fact that I said something positive the other day and somebody's like, cut it out. It's weird.
Yeah.
But I think, this is a hobby. We're all passionate about it. We love it. We are all kids at heart. There's a reason that we keep coming back to buy pictures of other adults on cardboard. At the end of the day, they're not worth anything. They don't mean anything. But we should also do a tournament, even if it ends up having to be much smaller, of things that we do appreciate and enjoy. Because we are
going to be a much smaller tournament.
Yeah, it'll probably only take about 2 minutes. And it'll probably just be the friendship, because most of us will probably, default to that. But, it really is that, we are often negative, so often, because social media kind of breeds that out of the, that there's got to be at least 2-3 things we could all agree on for a tournament of 3, things that we like besides friendship. But, again,
my dark horse for that, going to the mailbox.
Thanks for Emma Death.
Our mailman will probably vote saying, I hate this entire hobby.
I hate this entire thing.
But hey, it keeps you employed over time.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Ben. Yeah, this has been a lot of fun. I love this tournament every year. I've become a huge fan of it because I think of the hobby, like you mentioned, the passion of it. My default setting is complain. So like there's a little switch on my back and it's always set to complain because there's so many things that I love. Yeah, exactly. And so I think overall, like this is just a great way to get that out with having a lot of fun and doing it sort of, tongue in cheek. And I love that we've been able to come on and sort of make an event out of it now. So it's only going to get bigger in that respect, because I think more people will hopefully get the opportunity to add their content and add their voices. You can find me at Instagram at WWE Gelman, on Sports Cards Uncensored, at Sports Cards Uncensored on Twitter. Again, thank you, Paul, for putting the bracket together every year, even though you're terrible at it. And
I'm learning 35 minutes next year.
There we go.
2 cups of hot chocolate.
Thank you for posting all the votes and continuing with this. I know how much work that probably is, that all 30 seconds of making those polls, but it does take a while to sort of fill out the brackets and stuff like that. And we've had a lot of fun talking about it. So thanks again, guys. Looking forward to next year. And again, congrats to the card influencers. You earned it, baby.
You did. You wonderful human beings. Thank you.
Thanks,
All
everybody.
right.